All right, man. Well, let's start with your name, your age, and why you got started with Muay Thai and MMA.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Chris Cocores. I'm 33, and so why'd I get started?
Yeah.
It's kind of a long story, but I just fought a lot growing up, and I guess like fighting kind of found me. You know, growing up in Tahoe, there's not a lot to do, and I was homeschooled in school. I got into a lot of fights in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, by the time I was in I got bullied when I was younger, when I was in like 6th grade, 7th grade. And then I started trying to learn how to fight my bully and kind of training myself. And then, long story short, I beat up the bully that was bullying me in 6th grade in front of my whole class. And it was on. I was like, oh shit, this is it, and from that point on, I was never an instigator. I never picked fights with people. I was always a good kid, but I didn't take no shit, from that point on. And so then, I started building a reputation in school as being the fighter, not because I was mean or anything or bullied people. I just didn't take no shit from anyone, and that reputation continued to build. And you know how school is, so then you start building reputation. You're the fighter. You get a target on your back.
Yep.
And so that's basically what happened. And then, man, by the time, so I went into homeschool when I was in 8th grade because I had gotten suspended so many times, and I was just school wasn't working. And then I went into homeschool all through high school. I actually got into a fight. We had summer school at the high school when we were in middle school or whatever, and it was the year before high school started, and I got into a fight at the bus in front of the whole principal of the high school, everybody, and so I was already off to a bad start. Yeah, so they basically decided homeschool would be best, and then by the time I had graduated, man, I had been in so many more fights than probably I have now in my professional career, amateur career.
It's crazy.
So then I was just introduced to mixed martial arts, and the rest is history.
My dad always had this saying. It was, if somebody pushes you down, you push them down and make sure they stay down.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
And it's always, you're not going around making problems, but if somebody wants one,
absolutely,
no problem to finish it.
Yeah, it's touchy for sure, but you gotta stick up for yourself. So.
Yeah. What motivated you to start pursuing it seriously?
So my older brother, one of his good friends, he was 4 years older than me, and they were always looking out for me and my buddies. And we had just been getting in so much trouble that his friend had decided to create a fight night for us, where once a week we would all get together. They provided us with gear, shin guards, headgear, all that, and they would just let us beat the shit out of each other.
That's awesome.
And and the deal was that if we did it outside of his house, that he would cut it. He'd no longer be doing it. And so I just started I was just beating everybody up, younger, older, his friends, and so I found out I was good at it, and I just fell in love with it. And then through kind of, I guess, a series of opportunities that, just by grinding and being ambitious, it was I started in my garage, and then somebody came to me and was like, oh, I know this guy who's training for an actual fight, a real amateur fight in his driveway, and his name's Leo Morales. He's one of my first coaches.
Okay.
So I went and I trained with him, and then through that got introduced, and eventually I made it to Brian Beck's gym, Adrenaline Training Center in Carson City, where that was my first real gym, and I just loved it, man. My whole life has been about fighting, so kind of just was natural,
Yeah. Was there something specific, when you're defending yourself when you're younger, or just getting into adrenaline or whatever it may be? What stood out to you? Was it the striking? Was it choking somebody out? Was it submitting someone?
I always was good at striking. I always loved boxing. I started punching a bag at a young age. No, man, I just wanted to be the best, but I was kind of a timid kid, I was kind of the kid that my biggest fear was fighting, so I went straight into it.
Yeah.
I didn't do wrestling or like school sports. I wasn't like a tough, one of those tough kids, you know. I just, I don't know how to explain it. Like I just,
You're more the quiet kids.
I was the quiet kid, you know,
Yeah.
and it just, you know, I took a lot of shit growing up, and I went through a lot of stuff. I was going through stuff at home.
Yeah.
And then my mom passed away when I was 19. That basically is what really set me on my path in like having that I guess fuel, you know,
Yeah.
for the fire. Yeah. So that was a big point in my life where like my why really like increased and
Solidified and changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting let's go into some of your history. So you're growing up, you're doing the underground fighting and whatnot,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that, right?
I
But
mean,
it's
hey,
underground.
pretty much.
Yeah,
That's what it
and
was.
then you're getting into the amateur scene, and I remember like right when I was starting, and they weren't PKBs or anything
Sure.
like that. They were just smokers.
Yeah.
I think right after my first or second smoker, I started hearing your name a lot, and that was when you had the 155-pound MMA title.
Uh-huh.
Tell me a little bit about what happened leading up to the car crash.
Yeah, well, shit, there's a lot, but I mean, I was just grinding, you know. I had kind of fought my way through this, you know, the first, I mean, really through my whole amateur career. I did a handful of those smokers, and then I moved to San Diego. I came back, and I got my first shot at the WFC title, which was tight. And I mean, I think I fought at WFC 1. So
Really?
Yeah, so I had up here, I think it was,
Wow.
in Tahoe, yeah. So I had the chance to see, like, not just the show's progression, but the champions that, like, when I first started, you know how you see the champions and you're like, oh man, you're so, like, you know, starstruck by them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be that guy. And so, yeah, I moved to San Diego, I grinded there, and then eventually I got the title shot. I won that, and then I defended it, and I was basically in between here and San Diego, just grinding, man. You know, just fighting amateur. But I took a lot of risks in my amateur career. You know, I was pretty spread out. Like I fought in LA, San Diego, up here. So I was taking on. I mean, I don't know, man. Probably not the smartest approach, but I was like fight everybody, anybody, all the guys that nobody wants to fight, just take them all.
Yeah.
It was like, if I lose, at least I know I stepped up to the challenge. I took on the hard guy that nobody else wanted to fight, you know?
Exactly.
And I'm grateful for it. I suffered a couple losses, but, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
So, yeah.
Going to defend your title, you got into a car wreck, right?
Yeah, so it was my third title defense that I was training for, February 2018. And we got into the wreck December 2017. So I was going in, it was supposed to be my last amateur fight. You know how it is, like
Yeah.
your last amateur fight.
Sure.
You know, it's always your last amateur fight,
Right.
but then like 4 more fight, you know. So, but yeah, it was supposed to be my last amateur fight. It was a big one. It was my third title defense with WFC. I mean, and at the time, like amateur ranks, you know, it's whatever. But I was like, if I had won that fight, I was starting to kind of break through like top 3 in the state, you know.
Yep.
And for me at the time and everybody, it meant something, you know.
Absolutely, man.
And so, yeah, it was going to be a big fight. And then we came up here to train, see family about, you know, like I said, like 2 months before that. And on our way back home, that's when we got into the car wreck.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
What did you? So there was definitely some losses in that car wreck. What injuries did you walk away with?
I had a broken L3 vertebrae on my spine, burst fracture, broken left wrist, broken left leg, broke a couple fingers. I had internal damage from the seatbelt, which severed my intestine, left my small intestine sliced and bleeding out. So I got what they call seatbelt syndrome. So the seatbelt basically at a certain speed goes straight through your stomach, doesn't like cut the skin, but it just smokes everything in that section. So it snaps, you know, goes straight through your intestine and then snaps your spine. It's called seatbelt syndrome. And so you'd think the seatbelts were like meant to protect you, you know, but at a certain speed, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, for
apparently
sure.
they kill you. But yeah, so that, and then yeah, I was all busted up. I had stitches all over my face. The airbag deployed, busted my face up. I think I had like 15 stitches in my eye. My hand was like up here. So I like looked down and my hand was facing me. So yeah, I was all banged up.
Holy crap, man. So walk me through it. I've been in a few, but obviously not to the extent of yours. How'd you feel when you woke up, man? Like, did you wake up in the car? Did you wake up in the ambulance or the hospital?
No, I was awake all the way through it.
All the way through it.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I didn't get knocked out. I don't know how or why, but yeah, we hit, and then just like boom, came to. I was super dizzy, and I looked over and I seen her. I seen she didn't make it, and so I just got out of the car, and I just, like, in my head, I thought that since we were in the highway still, that another car was gonna come and hit us. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Everybody stopped, of course, and
Sure.
but I saw that she didn't make it, which was super sad and shitty. But then I was like, man, I just need to save myself, and yeah, I just got out of the car and I just walked to the side of the road. Somebody was like, lay down, like, what are you doing? I couldn't really remember that part. It took me a couple days to remember that. But yeah, I got knocked out of my shoes, and I remember just like, man, my car turned into like a piece of just metal, bro, like
Shreds.
shredded metal,
I think
dude.
I've seen a picture or two.
Bro, it was like it's a crazy thing. And then I was spitting out pieces of my teeth and plastic and glass, and then my stomach just hurt so bad, and I knew I'd never felt stomach pain like that in my life, and so I knew that like I'm probably dying, so I need to go figure this out, I need to go have those hard conversations with God and try and figure out how I can maybe fight through this.
So here you are. You're about to defend your title, man, and that happens. That's crazy. What was going through your mind when you're in the hospital? Like, walk me through some of your mindset and your thought process.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I believe in like exposure therapy, and just through my experiences in life, I've learned to like face your fears, and I just don't like wasting any time. I like kind of shaking out the blankets and just going face to face with the things, the reality, of what happened and what we're dealing with at the time. And losing Cece, my ex, was the hardest part about the whole situation, of course.
Rest your
And
soul.
yeah, she was an incredible woman, man, the coolest chick ever. And so when I was laying on the side of the road and I was dying, I just kept asking. Somebody came and threw a jacket over me, and I just was peeking out the bottom of it, and I could just see everything. I'm holding on to my stomach. I'm dying. Holding on to inches of my life. And people kept coming over, and I just kept telling them, like, my girlfriend's dead, isn't she? My girlfriend's dead, isn't she? To get confirmation. And then finally somebody was like, yeah, sweetie, your girlfriend's dead. And so when I woke up in the hospital, they flew me to the hospital in a helicopter, took me to Loma Linda, one of the best hospitals like in the country, I think. And they just threw me on this cold metal table in this operating room, and people are just scrambling. And I hear like surgeons, like they were stressed, bro, like they knew I was about to go, And so all of a sudden I hear one of the doctors go, if we don't get him under, he's gonna start puking. And I didn't know what they meant, What they meant is when you're having internal bleeding, there comes a point where you start puking, but you can't puke, so you just dry heave. And it's like the worst pain and it's super dangerous. And so like right after they said that, I just started dry heaving. And then it was like so painful, bro. And so I remember I just laid back and I just told the nurse, I was like, just knock me out. Like, please just knock me out. So they put the mask on. And then I woke up, and I remember I opened my eyes, and there was just like this beautiful green-eyed nurse with a mask on looking down at me. And she was like, woke me up real gently. And she's like, hey, sweetie, and I was like, hey. Like, literally the first thing I said was, I was like, my girlfriend's dead, isn't she? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, you're really beautiful, and I meant that in like a way of like, she looked like an angel.
Yeah.
And and then it was just, from that point on, it was just kind of facing everything that happened and going through, I think, 2 weeks in ICU. You know, I woke up, I had a tube down my throat. I had a like a Iron Man engine in my stomach. It was like a
Really?
Yeah, it was like a tube this big that was in my stomach, pumping blood and everything, and it was like straight like Iron Man, dude.
Yeah.
And you know, I was all casted up, like casted up from head to toe, like in the
Yeah.
movies, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, tube down my throat, which sucked. Yeah, and that point on, it was just, you know, time to recover.
Did you ever consider walking away from the sport when you were laying there?
No,
Never went through your mind?
no.
You know, a few things, just, you know, casually, personally speaking, there's a lot of people that wish, you know, oh, I can't fight, I have this injury, or I know, you know, training partners in the past would just drive into the event. Oh, I wish something could happen, so I didn't want to fight. You know, well, there's always, you know,
Yeah,
your dreams coming true, which is the crazy reality that you've lived through, man.
sure.
Did it impact your mindset in wanting to go forward more, to take it all the way to the top of competition? If you could speak on who helped you in your inspiration and your motivation to keep going, what were the key things that really helped you
Yeah, I mean,
as you were recovering, of course?
sure, yeah, it's a good question. You know, I think, like, for me, I don't pursue things because I want to be okay at them, you know? I pursue things because I want to be great, right? And so if you're given adversity, what opportunity do you have to be better, to be greater? It's not going to be easy now, but now you have the opportunity to really show what you're made of, and the fight becomes more significant, becomes bigger, becomes more valuable, you know, more impactful. And so, I mean, my first thought was Paralympics, because I didn't know if I was paralyzed or not. You know, the first couple days, they didn't know what shape my spinal cord was in, so I called one of my coaches. I called my coach, Ryan Wallace.
Yeah.
He's got one leg. He's a stud.
Solid guy.
Solid fighter, coach. And I told him, I said, like, what's up with the Paralympics, you know? I mean, I'm ready to go for it. Whatever it takes, time to pivot. Well, luckily, I was okay. And then, it was just, I just never gave up a day in my life, man. I mean, I promised myself at a young age, I promised my mom at a young age that I would never stop. And, you know, at that point in my life, the snap of a finger, I lost my girlfriend, my job, my apartment, my dog in the back seat, most of my belongings, you know, all my valuables were in the car. Your ability to move. So you lose everything. The blink of an eye, your life just resets like that. Boom, clean slate. Like, I mean, clean slate's a bad word, but like,
Sure.
That's what it is, you know,
Yeah.
like, and you have to adapt, and you have to come to terms with the fact that you lost everything, you know. And so what do I have left? Like, fighting was it. That was it. And like, granted, I was like, it was hard, man. Like, you know, there was multiple nights I was screaming into pillows. It was a really confusing time. I didn't know why all that happened. I really missed everybody, you know. I really missed my girlfriend. I mean, we had everything. We had everything going for us, you know. We were young, 26. She was 22, I think, at the time. She had just started college to be an engineer. We had just got our first apartment together. We were killing it, you know, living in San Diego, like, and so it was a really confusing time. But I knew that the only thing that I had left to do was to fight forward towards my fighting, because, you know, that's all I had
That's
left.
what you had left.
That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So.
Wow, man. With what you do now, and during that process, you know, getting out of the hospital and still focusing on physical therapy and whatnot, when you train, compete, wake up and go through your daily routine, what are some of the things in your way that you do to honor, you know, your past experiences with death, really, with your ex and your mother?
Yeah, so I mean, just the opportunity, You know, the opportunity alone, like, you know, for me, what happened is competing became something that I did. I forced myself to do, to something that I had the privilege of doing. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that can't compete. You know, there's people that are in wheelchairs, there's people that are sick, there's people that are dead. And so from that point on, even to this day, every single competition became like, wow, this is an opportunity for me to get out there and do something so many people don't get to do. So I'm gonna make the best of it. Like, it's my last fight ever, you know?
Yeah.
And it also took away a lot of the nerves. You know,
I bet.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's it.
Wow, man. So, speaking of mentality, let's go into ego and mentality in fighting and competition. How do you balance your confidence with humility in combat sports?
Confidence with humility. So like the thing about combat sports and your ego is that you have to be in a constant battle with your ego to figure out how you can manage your emotions, and you can make sure that that you're able to show up to your fights and show up to training and have good days and bad days and have it not affect your ego, you know? So it's like being, you know, my thing lately is like, I don't get worked up over winning or losing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get worked up over good days. You know, you have a good day at the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Everything goes right. You smash everybody. You go home. You're like,
Feeling solid.
yeah.
Then you get destroyed the next.
Right. You get a little too full of yourself, or maybe you get complacent. You don't work as hard the next day. Sometimes you have days where like you feel like shit. You get smashed by everybody. You go home with your head down. Both of those days shouldn't affect you in terms of your emotions, your forward trajectory. So I think what really like changed the game for me is when I learned how to remove my ego, and really to only use it when it's time to bless others. Like if I can use it as a tool to help other people, my team, my fans, the kids, the people looking up to me, whoever. Otherwise, the sport, it's not a sport for emotions. It's not
Yeah.
a sport for people that are too, you know, bent over their egos. That you'll get caught, you know.
Well said, man.
So,
Yeah, it's something that people get caught up on too often, unfortunately, at least you know, in our Western society.
sure. Yeah, man.
So everybody's gonna think I'm a fucking douchebag. First off,
you're good.
You're such an inspiration, man. Like
Thanks,
it's awesome to sit down, know you, talk to you, and hit you up, ask you for advice. You know.
Bro, you too, man. It's a pleasure.
But with your, I knew that you got into a car crash. I saw your scar.
Yeah.
How was when we fought each other and competed for that the point kickboxing title? How was that competition with me? And I never really landed a body shot, but that was my plan with you.
Yeah.
Because I know you were playing with me after you landed the flying knee, because I was just absolutely done. Second round going, but let's for shits and giggles for the first round.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, like, for me, like, first of all, I do a lot better with technical guys, which you're one of them.
Sure.
So the guy that I fought before you, he was one of those gritty, tough, kind of like
More
dull.
thrash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more thrash. Yeah, and so, but I saw you win because right, you had to fight and win, obviously.
Before, yeah.
And so I saw you win yours, and I was like watching. I was like, okay, this might be a little bit better because he's a lot more technical, more graceful, and that's what I do a lot better with. To be fair, that was like the tip of the ice, like top of the mountain for me, where I was like super determined to win because it was my first fight back.
I remember.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, and I mean, honestly, bro, like it was just an honor to fight you. You were super technical. It was fun. It was playful. It was competitive. Yeah, it was just a really cool experience altogether. And in regard to my stomach scar, I always wondered if guys would target it, man. So I'm glad that you did because, you know, I would assume that any good fighter would go for a weakness. And
I couldn't
you know,
land it, but you know that was
the
you
goal.
try, right?
Hey, man, you gotta go after what you can to, you know, seal the
I-
deal.
Yeah, I'm glad that it was headgear and shin guards, that's for sure, man.
Yeah.
I think I said that a few times.
It was a good fun, man. It was a good competition.
Yeah, man. It was good times.
Yep.
Going into just having like mental toughness and just being adaptable, what mental strategies do you use to stay focused in the fight, you know?
As of lately, the higher you get, the more real fighting gets. And the more you push yourself, the deeper waters you get into. You know, once you start reaching a certain level, you got to be kind of a monster. You got to be kind of a dog. And that's something that took me some time to develop, you know, how to be that. But that's the world we live in, right? That's the sport that we're in. And so for me, you know, before the fight, I hit a certain point where I just go empty. And I accept that I'm there to die. You know, it sounds cliche, but to die or kill, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you just lean on your preparation. You know, I think my more recent years, I've started really understanding how important it is to train really freaking hard, because those are the moments that are gonna build you to, you know, basically be like what you look like when the bell rings and everything feels weird and your body's warm and the pressure's on and things are super uncomfortable. So yeah, I mean, I just really simply, I just started training harder, and I started really making sure that I was that guy, that I was doing everything that I possibly could and exceeding everybody else's work ethic. And then, you know, yeah, before competition, it's a dangerous place, bro, you know. And when you get to the higher level, it's not for everybody. Like, you got to be a real mean son of a bitch to get in there with some of the higher level guys, mainly because, like, a lot of them, you know, they don't have, some of those guys are straight, they seem like straight monsters. Like, I'm a nice guy, you know, like, I love people, I have emotions, I like watch movies and cry and shit, you know. And so it's hard because you got to flip that switch, but that's what it takes, you know, to compete at the highest level, is to be able to flip that switch. And so you know, as of lately, that's what I've been learning, is like, it's me or you, and it ain't gonna be me, and you're gonna have to kill me if you want to take what I want, and I can guarantee you I want it more, and I know I worked hard, so let's see, you know. And it's a clash of elbows and knees and punches, and you know, I always tell myself lately, it's gonna be a car crash, you know.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's just the inevitable.
What you said about you go empty, did I get that right? You go empty. I've heard people say, you know, I get in a flow state, or I really like that.
Yeah.
That, you know, like you said, as you go higher up in the sport, you kind of, things start to change and things start to click. That really clicks for me. So
right, cool,
just talk
man.
to me, man.
Yeah. Your mind just empties, man. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing in there but the task at hand.
Right,
you know?
right. Would you say, and think you kind of answered this question, the question I'm about to ask with my prior one, that what separates a good fighter from a great one is their mentality?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a lot of ways,
Yeah.
you know, like how they approach training, how they're able to respect their teachers and understand the game, you know. I mean, really how they're able to listen. If you got a good team, being able to listen, you know, being able to build one, seek out the right people, and then for sure, mentality, I think, is the number one most important thing.
Yeah. Embracing the grind, the sacrifices you've made to reach these top levels of competition that you've been at, and you know, you have things going. What would be the main sacrifice that you have made? For me, it's time with my son and the ability to be there.
Right.
Be there for him, be there for my family, financial stuff. For you, what's that main sacrifice, would you say?
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
But I didn't have something like that.
Sure.
If I had something like that, it'd be a different sacrifice.
Right.
Because if we have things that, you know, I have things that are important to me that I had to sacrifice time away from.
Yeah.
I had to sacrifice my relationship with. I had to sacrifice helping those things or people to understand what I'm trying to do, how it's for the betterment of us as a team, as a family. But for me, I guess you could say I was blessed to where I was able to kind of purify myself before I stepped into this next phase of my career. where I literally sacrificed everything. I left home with a backpack on my back. I gave my dog up to a friend, and man, I'm getting older,
Yeah.
and I only got so much time left to do this. So,
Right.
we only got so many shots in our life, so many opportunities to make the best out of that moment. And when that moment passes, sometimes you look back and you go, shit, could I have done more? Could I have
Right.
sacrificed more? And I've been there many times in my life. So this was just, for me, this period of my life was the first time where I said, I'm going to sacrifice everything and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to deal with that pain, that loneliness, that confusion.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of choices,
Absolutely, man. What would you contribute of your daily habits to your success? Like, for me, it's small wins. Wake up, brush my teeth, homework's done for the kid, blah blah blah. What's a daily habit that contributes for your success?
I think that for sure, man. I agree 1,000%. Small wins.
Small wins.
Yeah, for sure. And I wake up with passion in my heart every morning. I try to wake up with that same mindset that I did 15 years ago when I was a kid. First, opening that first page of the book, realize, oh shit, I can do this. But yeah, man, just like you said, small wins, and then I just try to keep a lot of fire and passion and love in my heart for what I do.
That's awesome, man. Where was the change where you wanted to go to Thailand?
Well, I always wanted to go to Thailand. My first teacher went to Thailand, Brian Beck, and he told me a lot of stories about being out there. So I was always on the radar. I didn't really know what it was about, but I just got blessed with the opportunity to go. I ended up spending a lot of time, and I ended up having a lot of fun, and really learned what the place was all about.
How do the Thais approach the game, right? As many say, against Americans differently?
The Thais just have a lot of fun with it, it's a part of their culture, it's in their blood.
Do it every week, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. So for them, like out here, it's very serious, and for them, it's very serious too. But they've also been doing it since they were little kids. For them, it's like another day at the office, and so they're just really great people. They just have a lot of fun with it. And oddly enough, they also are some of the baddest, hardest working people you'd ever meet in your life.
It's so contagious, and they're so content with whatever.
Yeah.
It could be the smallest thing, it could be the biggest thing, but they're so content either way.
Yep. Yeah,
so contagious, man. Once you get a little taste, it's like I was telling you before this. I'm trying to get out there.
Yeah, they're great people, man.
Why Bangkok specifically? Did that location play a role in the development that you've been working so hard for?
Well, Bangkok is like kind of the mecca. That's where all the main stages are. That's where one is. That's where Rajadamnern Stadium is. That's where a lot of good camps are. I was brought out there by my teacher, and so that was just the spot that we ended up being posted up at. I trained outside of Bangkok in some provinces outside of the main city, but it's really nice being close to Bangkok because that's just where all that's where the fire is,
Yeah.
That's where the hype is. That's where it's busy. So
A lot of people, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people there.
yeah, it's a cool city.
It's gorgeous, man. It's
Yep.
nuts. What's your opinion, if you would point out a MMA fighter, a Muay Thai fighter, even like a Taekwondo guy, boxing, what personality traits would you pin on an MMA fighter, Taekwondo competitor, even a jiu-jitsu competitor as well? Do you see? We all see similarities in them,
Sure.
right? What are the differences that you see?
I don't really see a whole lot of differences. I just think it's a matter of different sports, different forms of martial arts. It's case by case basis. I think each one of them offers sort of different traditions, different styles of training. The cultures are different, but ultimately, they're all on the same mission to be the best at whatever it is they're pursuing, and it's just all what makes up, mixed martial arts as a whole, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, as a mixed martial artist, like, I'm trying to be the best I can at everything. And so for me, it's all relevant in the sense of what the ultimate goal is, but at the same time, it's all very different, you know?
It's such a subjective question, right? Like, it goes left, right, upside down, everywhere the same, and also, you know, different wise.
Yep.
When I watch you move around and when I watch you compete, when you throw something that isn't in the Muay Thai rule set, a back kick,
Yeah.
whatever, it's so fluid, man. Is there any type of advice that you would give to a Muay Thai fighter that's just starting out that wants to be
Muay Thai
good?
fighter. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's depending on what your goals are. Like, if you're trying to get into Muay Thai, there's a lot of great Muay Thai teachers out there. But, you know, I'm an MMA guy who just happens to love and be practicing all different forms of martial arts.
Yeah.
But you know, the back kicks, the tricky, you know, kind of unorthodox stuff.
Cool, flashy stuff, yeah.
Fortunately, yeah, we can do that, you know, in Muay Thai. But the goal has always been to figure out how I can be the best Muay Thai fighter that I could be, you know, and then to be the best jiu-jitsu practitioner, the best judoka, the best boxer. So that's always been my goal. I mean, I'm an MMA fighter, you know, but I mean, my advice for like an up-and-coming Muay Thai fighter, as far as you're like talking about learning some more unorthodox techniques.
Yeah, a lot of people will see, you know, UFC, and I don't know, years ago it'd be, I do UFC. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
Yeah,
Gosh,
of course.
kills me.
I
It's
still
like,
get it.
Yeah. Right?
Guys like,
Nuts.
you do UFC these days? I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
totally. Yeah.
Exactly.
End the conversation quick. I
Right.
gotta go.
Yeah. You say MMA, they're like, what?
What? Yeah.
Right.
So
UFC.
with that being said, would stick to the basics so then you can break them. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, absolutely. Like, the goal is that you build a really solid foundation, you know. You gotta go seek out the best. You gotta learn from the best. You gotta understand the game has always been sort of this, it's derived from the same roots. Everything comes from the roots of the initial, you know, like the birth of the sport, right? People a lot of times didn't really try to reinvent the wheel. They kept true to the traditions of the greats. I mean, all across the board, it's like the best judo guys of all time, the best Thai guys of all time. You know, if we're looking back in the golden era of Muay Thai in the 90s, early 2000s, and you're looking at guys like Diesel Noi, you know, Samat, a couple other, you know, my teacher, they all came from the golden era of Muay Thai, and the techniques themselves haven't changed. The application of them and the ability to really hone in to their full potential is what sort of separates the great people from, you know, the not so great. And you know, but it's not like people think in the States, you know, evolution is constantly layering on new techniques, but that's
combination.
it's not necessarily the case. It's learning how to evolve the game based off of the you know, its roots, you know.
Yeah, well said. Well said. What's a typical day in the life of Chris for training inside and outside of the mats in the ring?
I mean, like, for me, when I'm in it, I've been injured this last couple months, so I'm still training every day, but
Yeah.
it just depends, man. Like, depends what season it is, you know. Is it killing season or is it chilling season, you know?
Both.
So, chilling season, I'm pretty much almost doing the same thing. It's just a little different of a grind, you know.
Yeah.
I go crazy without training.
Yeah.
I go crazy without having a certain level of challenge in my life. This is my life. This is my job. This means everything to me. So, and you know, I try to fill the gap. So when I'm not in killing season, I often be like, oh man, I need to do that now, so that when I get into it, I don't have to pick up the slack or, like, you know, have any missed time or whatever. But you know, I'm still tapping into better versions of myself every day, you know. And I've continued to elevate myself to new camps and new places where they push me to new levels. So I'm really, I think as of lately, starting to learn what the real grind is all about. And really, man, it's just you got to live it. You got to live it, and you got to not think too much about it, or it be that big of a deal.
Right.
It's just what you do. You wake up and you do it all day, every day, 6-7 days a week, and that's it.
Yeah,
and if
social.
you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yeah. What non-training activities would help you stay sharp when you're competing or not competing? Chill in season or kill in season?
Reading, gymnastics, talking to people and building out your network and your understanding of communication and stuff like that. I think reading is a big one. It's one of the things my teachers got me doing a lot of lately. Meditating, putting energy and effort, planning into what, that next chapter or that next pursuit or fight or whatever is going to look like. But really, like I said, you got to live it, man. So everything sort of has to pour into that cup.
Yeah. If you're doing something that is not pouring into the cup and going into your mouth,
You're wasting time.
A waste of time.
Yeah.
How is fighting's your life, man? How has it changed you as a person? Because, so many other people, you were just saying, others are monsters, very, maybe they're not as sociable, maybe they're not as communicative or anything like that.
Sure.
How has it changed you as a person?
Oh, it's gave me identity. It's given me, opportunity. It's made me who I am. I wasn't very confident growing up. It's given me a life. Everything that I have is because of fighting.
Yeah.
And everything I think I'm going to have throughout my life will probably be because of fighting.
Absolutely.
It all translates, right, to
Yeah.
like real life, and the stuff outside of the sport. But fighting gave me a life, literally.
If you weren't fighting, what do you think you'd be doing?
Man. Probably, honestly, man, I think I'd be like going in on something out. Like, I'd probably, because I'm like obsessive, man. So I'd probably be like trying to be professional or something else. Yeah, like literally, dude, I would try to probably be like I love skateboarding growing up.
Okay, there you go.
I played music growing up, so I would definitely be probably having the same conversation with somebody else in a different
realm.
world. Yeah,
That's awesome,
for
man.
sure.
That's awesome. What advice would you give to fighters, anybody really, that are facing personal struggles?
Keep going.
Keep going.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a part of life. It's going to happen. The more you go through it, the better you get at going through it. Build a good team. People that can pull you out of the rut when you're in it.
Yeah.
People don't let you get in ruts. Set goals so big you don't have time to suffer.
Beautiful.
That's a big one.
As I'm closing it out, man, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
Man, I'd tell myself a lot of stuff, bro. I'd have like a 2-hour-long conversation.
A few smacks in there.
Yeah, and just, maybe I'd be pretty proud of myself, I guess. It just, there's so much that's happened. I'll probably just say, keep going, man. It's gonna happen, But I need someone to come tell me that now. You know what I mean? So it's I haven't quite made it there yet where I feel like I can, really be that person. But I think with the things that I've accomplished and how cool life has been, I would just say, just keep going. It's all gonna work out. Just gotta keep going.
With all the things that you've faced, man, and all the things that you've achieved and the big bright future that you have ahead, how do you want to be remembered?
Oof.
As a person in the sport?
I would like to be remembered as somebody that always put people first. I would like to be, I don't want to be remembered. I want the people I impact to be remembered. I don't really care for myself to be so much remembered, but if anything, it was a guy that was a good person. He cared about others. He always did his best. He worked super hard. There's a lot of great people out there that were remembered that way, and I aspire to be a lot like them. I got a lot of really great teachers, and you know, I really just, yeah, man, you know, it's the sport that we're in, that I'm in, and anything that you try to go deep in, it can change you, you know. There's a lot of nastiness involved with this kind of stuff, anything that you pursue deeply.
Sure.
And so maintaining good character and good values, good morale is hard, you know. And so if you can do that and you can be great, then that's what I think the important thing to do is. And of course, for me, the more people that you influence, the better life you lived.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. Seriously,
Yeah, man.
I really
Thank you,
appreciate
bro.
you.
Of course. Yeah, it was a pleasure, man.